down the road from us in Richland County, South Carolina, just outside of Columbia, is one of the few national parks in the southeast, really, Congaree National Park. It's a fairly new addition to the park system. In 1978, legislation made it a national monument, and it took until 2003 that it finally became a national park. And we just don't get over there to enjoy it enough. We took 2 different trips earlier this year to go explore. We made a video out of it. At the end, I'm going to talk a little bit about some controversy with us recording this. For most people, that part will not really matter to them, but anybody else that's like a creative person that likes to do these videos, it is an important update that we got when talking to the ranger.
So we spent it was a beautiful Sunday afternoon. We were just kind of hanging out after church and decided, let's go ride up to Congaree and check things out.
Well, and one of the things that kind of spurred my thought on this was I've discovered through, I don't remember even where, that every 4th grader in the United States is entitled to a free 1-year membership or access pass to the national park system.
For their family.
For the entire family. I was like, hey, Claire's in the 4th grade. In order to get the free pass, you've got to do an online questionnaire. For the student has to do the online questionnaire, and you get a sheet that you print out that you have to take to a national park. Well, we have one in South Carolina, Congaree National Park. Now, we have lots of national sites. We have national forests, but we only have one national park. So I said, all right, we've got to go to Congaree National Park in order to get our pass. So that's what kind of what started this whole thing. And man, I wish we'd have done this before.
Yeah, it's a beautiful park. It's one of the only hardwood forests that's been protected on the East Coast. I think it's one of the oldest protected hardwood forests on the East Coast. There are trees measuring, as big around as SUVs. Pine trees measuring
huge
6 feet around. Like, you just don't ever see pine trees like that. It's a boardwalk walk, so legit, you park, you walk up a paved walk. There are other walks, but the main one, you walk out on a boardwalk, you walk boardwalk, pretty much 360.
It's a big circle, but it's broken into 2 halves. There's the lower boardwalk and there's the higher boardwalk. So when you come out of the visitor center and you start on the boardwalk, you start off high and elevated. And you go a little ways, there's a big kind of open space. And then if you go to the left, that takes you along the higher boardwalk. And to the right takes you along the lower boardwalk, which eventually, and then they kind of meet back again. And we
have heard sometimes the lower boardwalk is flooded. But they'll tell you that. They'll say it's all open today, or, you're going to be able to only go on this part of the boardwalk unless you want to get your feet wet.
Right.
Or, go till it's wet and then come back. I mean, it is a overflow land. It's, a natural watershed area. But also, too, the boardwalk is beautiful. The amount of trees you see, the animals is cool. But the visitor center, museum, naturalist space is really, really well done as well. There's lots and lots of things for the kids to do. Of course, there's gift shop stuff, but there's lots of activities. And then they have the Junior Ranger program for Congaree, and they can do their questionnaire, answer a bunch of questions about stuff they see in the visitor center, stuff they've noticed outside, and they get sworn in and a visitor or Junior Ranger badge.
Yep, and there's some displays there. They actually have a little movie theater in there where they play some different movies about the park. There's some about the history. There's some about the types of trees, the types of animals.
And there's the base, or a model of the base of one of the big cypress trees that you can actually go in, and it talks about the different animals that live in like a dead tree and why trees are great, whether they're living or how they mature. And then there's a whole model of like a fallen tree on the other side, where like the backside is the water that collects and the animals that live in the water, all the way down to like the larvae that eat the tree and mushrooms that grow on it, and lots and lots of interactive space, lots and lots of kid-friendly things in there to explore.
The one cautionary tale I'll tell is, especially in the warmer months, make sure you spray yourself well with bug spray.
Like again and again.
Yes, it is very prone to mosquitoes. Matter of fact, above the bathrooms, they actually have a mosquito gauge that they will adjust based on how bad the mosquitoes are. It's kind of a little funny, notorious thing.
They can be very bad.
Yeah, especially once you get back in those woods where there's a lot of standing water. But it's worth it. Just put some bug spray on and go for a walk.
During certain seasons, they have, of course, they always have events, but during like the spring season, they always have a big firefly event. There is synchronized fireflies that inhabit the swamp, and supposedly it's just amazing.
You have to enter a lottery.
You have to enter a lottery to go.
Yeah, because it's so highly desired to go. You have to enter a lottery, and we had some friends that got to go this year. This is their 4th year entering the lottery, and this is the first time they've gotten a chance to go.
But then we had another friend who is a car camper, and she didn't get the lottery, so she just went the next week and camped in her car and said it was gorgeous to see.
There are several campsites. There are no RV sites. They are just tent sites, so you can go. Make sure you get a reservation in advance so that you have a site. But there are some, I guess you call that primitive tent camping.
Yeah, they do ask you you're in the grounds before 8 or 8:30.
Yeah, but the park actually says it's open 24/7. But yes, they really want you in at a certain time. But Congaree is a great resource. I'm glad that we have it in the Midlands. I wish that we would have gone more, but we will definitely be back, especially on a beautiful spring or fall day. It's a wonderful place to go enjoy nature. So as I mentioned earlier, there's a little bit of controversy about recording and making videos in the national parks. I don't know, a handful of years ago or so, they came out with a rule that said if you're going to record in the parks, you needed to get a permit. The permit process was kind of lengthy and could be a little bit expensive, and they included people that post for social media and YouTube in the people that needed permits. They took some public comment period before they started to implement it, and then they decided to shelve it. I think there was some sort of lawsuit that tied it up, so they shelved it during the lawsuit. And last year they came out and said, we've settled our lawsuit, we're going to start implementing this policy. So people started freaking out. What does this mean? So I decided when we went the first time to Congaree this year to ask one of the rangers. She said they had just updated their policy that while yes, the policy says that they are not to record unless you have a permit. She said they're not really enforcing it as long as you're using equipment that is not taxing of their staff and their time. So since my camera looks like it's actually smaller than a lot of the cameras that people are using to take pictures of birds and various other things, I'm not carrying a huge sound crew with me. We're not taxing the staff, that she was not considering me in need of that permit. So I'm taking her word at it by putting this video out there. I'll let you know if I hear from somebody, if somebody gets upset with me, I'll have to pull this down and I'll make a separate video kind of explaining, hey, we can't do that. But I'm hoping that we can continue showing off our national parks because they are such a treasure for us in this country. We need to not only be able to go explore them, I want to be able to tell their story. I want to be able to encourage others to go check out our national parks. So I hope we're able to continue doing this. I'll keep you informed. In the meantime, subscribe and like, and hope to see you in the next video. Thanks.